Hi, everyone. This is Sandy Kearney. I am with Network in Action, Best of Boston, and I have with me today Chris Spafford. Hi, Chris. How you doing today?
Great, Sandy. Great. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So Chris, tell me a little bit about your business and how long you've been doing it for.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Chris Spafford. I'm the president and founder of Frable LLC. Frable is an acronym for Fractional Business Leadership. For most of my career, I was in executive leadership sales roles, and I had the opportunity to start Frable in 2021. And I jumped at the opportunity. I partnered with Sales Acceleration, which is the largest network of fractional VP of sales advisors in the country, really designed to help small and medium-sized business that are not meeting their revenue expectations. I also partnered with a company called Gary Waldron and Associates to administer their time-tested business development programs that I have been using with great success for years.
Awesome. That's great. When you think about sales, fractional sales coaches, you hear the fractional that's being thrown around quite a bit. What makes your company, what makes Frable, stand out from the rest of the pack?
Well, I think what makes Frable stand out from the rest of the pack really is the association with Sales Acceleration on the fractional VP of sales side. So they're really two distinct pieces of business. As a fractional VP of sales, I've partnered with Sales Acceleration, who's been around since 2011. They've done over 3,600 engagements with a huge amount of different industries. And they've really been able to put together a world-class sales infrastructure program that consists of sales process, strategy, organization, making sure that you have the right people in place. And it's time tested, right? So there's 180 advisors in the US, and it's a much more affordable solution for smaller business than having to go out and hire a full-time VP of sales. For the business development programs, that's really for larger companies. There could be individual classroom settings where smaller companies send one or two individuals to a class, but really it's for companies with 8 salespeople or more. And there's a couple of huge differentiators in that program that I found to be extremely game changing. The first is there's 2 people that administer the program. That is really what keeps it fresh and interesting. I don't know if you've ever sat through a sales training with one person speaking the whole time. You know that after an hour, you're yawning, you're trying to stay awake, you're pinching your leg. It never worked well for me.
Yeah.
These programs, they're engaging, it's very interactive, there's lots of role play. And the nice thing about having 2 people administer the program is because the attendees to the program, they're actually watching the role play in action as an example of what they should be doing. So it's really a how-to versus best practice. And the modules are highly customizable, and they're customizable to the things that your sales force needs to be trained on, right? So the training is not necessarily they've seen it for the first time, but it needs to be refreshed. They need to be sharp on it. And these are concepts that can be put into place every single day.
That's awesome. So you've got pretty much 2 sides of your business, which really makes you really well-rounded, not just the sales piece, but also just the development of those leaders in that sales role too. That's great. So do you have I know you've been in business for, not a huge amount of time, but is there a favorite customer story that you have?
I do. I have a great story. It's a great example of the sales acceleration model. And my story is about a business owner of a manufacturing company, was $18 million and was struggling. The company was not meeting its revenue projections, was in danger of losing money and potentially failing. So the owner, it was privately held. The owner basically had personal guarantees on the bank loans and was in full-fledged panic mode. It's time to stop the bleeding, and just didn't know how to stop it. The fortunate thing is the owner recognized the problem and reached out for help. And I came in, and in analyzing on the sales side what the system looked like, there was no sales process. Customer service was reporting to the finance department, which I've yet to figure out. The sales leader was not managing the sales team. He was off doing his own thing, business development. The compensation system was horrific. It was mostly a base salary. There was a discretionary bonus, which was almost never paid out. And when it was paid out, no one understood why. No CRM. So basically, if a salesperson or business development person just decided to leave, you had no idea who their contacts were. And they were basically order takers. They weren't developing new business. It was an absolute mess. So what I did was I was able to come in, implement a process that started by creating the proper organization, the relationship between inside and outside sales, made sure we had the right people in the right roles, implemented a CRM system to track the sales funnel and contacts, and created a forecast, which they never had a forecast before. They worked off a quarterly projection, never had an annual forecast. So changed the compensation plan to incent the behavior that the owner was after, and that was growth, right? So now we have a compensation plan which is much more in line with the mentality of good salespeople. If they do well, they want to be compensated for it, right? So we put that in place. At the end of the day, the business owner was allowed to focus on building the business, let me deal with the sales aspect of the company, and went about, putting together a strategic plan for the business that will allow it to continue to grow and things that we could implement in the sales department. Long story short, these changes resulted in substantial growth and return to profitability. And this is probably the best example that I have of how sales acceleration will help customers or clients that are experiencing the same sort of problem.
I love it. And you're a very happy business owner, I'm sure, at the end of the day. But there's a lot of work that goes into that. And, you really need someone knowledgeable, not just someone that picks up a franchise, someone like you who has a lot of experience, who's come from industry, who's been in these different roles to really be able to come in and help to relate to those business owners. So if someone is looking for someone like you and the services that you offer, how can people reach you?
Probably the best way to reach me is by calling me on my cell phone, 860-294-6272. This is a Connecticut number. I'm actually live in Western Massachusetts, but I still carried over my old phone number. Can email me at Spafford, and that's S-P as in Peter, A-F-F-O-R-D at Frable-LLC.com. And certainly for lots of additional information, you can always go to my LinkedIn page. Just go to LinkedIn, Chris Spafford, Frable, and I'll pop up. There's lots more information there and links to the programs that I'm working with.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to working with you, and good luck with the business.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it, Sandy.
You're welcome.